and don't expect too much from your bodies, meaning to find the perfect posture is quite rare and almost impossible. There's always a little bit of discomfort in our bodies. So just a good enough posture which you can maintain for a period of time. Like I suggested earlier, if you wish to try the may I be well, may I be happy, may I be free from suffering. Some of you may have tried that during the walking meditation, and you're welcome to continue to try that during the meditation session. After this session, we'll be going on a group walk. We call it a snake walk because we'll go single file and we'll walk around the property grounds together. But for this period of time, we'll try and practice the sitting meditation. So whether it's the may I be well, may I be happy, may I be free from suffering, or another technique is using the mantra, very simple mantra called the Butto mantra. Butto, which comes from the Buddha's name. The Buddha's name actually means the awakened one. And in terms of the grammar of the language called Pali, when you put Butto at the end, it means the one who is awake. So we are recollecting that which is awakened, that which is mindful, that which is peaceful, content, happy. So we add this mantra to the breathing. So when you breathe in, you recite But, so the first half of the word, But, and then on the out breath, To, But, To, But, To, But, To. Or you can recite Butto on the in breath and Butto on the out breath. So we're adding this mantra to the breathing. And this helps us bring more attention to the breath. And we're just keeping that mantra going. And you'll notice there will be a thought come up to steal us away from the meditation object. And we have to remind ourselves to go, okay, I'm going to let that go and just come back to my meditation object. Go back to Butto, Butto. However important we think the thought is, we just learn how to go, okay, I can think about this later. This thought doesn't need to be all sorted and completed, and right now you can just come back to our mantra of Butto, Butto, Butto. And the third technique I wanted to share with you is the counting technique. So the first technique is may I be well, happy and free from suffering. Second technique is the Butto mantra. And the third technique is the counting. And this is when you count the in-breath as 1 and the out-breath as 1. And the next in-breath as 2, out-breath 2. In-breath 3, out breath 3, in breath 4, out breath 4. And then you try to get to 10, and then you count backwards. So in breath 10, out breath 10, in breath 9, out breath 9. And it's quite common experience to get to 3 or 4, and then we've lost in our thinking again. And then you bring it back again. Start from 1 again. So don't just start from where you left off, but start from the beginning again. So 3 techniques to work with in this meditation session. As we meditate, if we're feeling sleepy, then you can open your eyes, let some light come in, adjust your posture, take some deep breaths in to re-establish your mindfulness. If you need to adjust your posture due to discomfort, then you can. And keep reminding yourself to come back to your meditation object. Whether you chose to go with the may I be well, may I be happy, may I be free from suffering, or the Buddho method, or the counting. You might notice when we're halfway through the session, our effort sometimes is not as strong as when we first started. So just remind yourself to keep sincerely practicing with the meditation object. Keep bringing energy to your posture. And being willing to start over again if you find your mind drifting off to other subjects. Being willing to humbly come back to the meditation object again with great patience and perseverance. Meditation object. Maybe we're becoming drowsy, then we try and pull our effort back into our posture again. And like I said, maybe a deep breath, a few deep breaths, and being willing to remind yourself of the instructions and start over again. Okay, so you can slowly come out of your meditation. And next we are going to do some walking meditation as a group before our final session, which I think will be a question and answer session. We have quite a few to get through, so we'll probably do a little bit of question and answering questions after the group walk. So if you need the bathroom or a drink of water or something, you can help yourself to that. And in about 5 minutes, we'll just meet outside the front of the hall there, and we'll do a walk together. chanting on page 17 of the chanting book. So if you have one, then open it up to page 17. If you don't have one, there's some over on the table there. At the end, is that convenient? At the end? Yeah, sure. Okay, we can face the Buddha statue. And we can begin by bowing 3 times. Yo so bhagava arahang samma sambuddho sawakato yena bhagavata dhammo supatipanno yasa bhagavato sawaka sangho Tamhayang Bhagavantang Satamang Sasankang Ime Hisakare Hiyatarahang Aropite Hihapipujayama Sa O Pante Bhagava Suchira Pariniputopi Pachima Chanatanukampamanasa Ime Sakare Tukatapana Karapute Patikanhatu Amhakanti Karatang Hitaya Sukaya Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Hapivatemi Sawakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Sanghang Namami Antamayang Buddhasa Bhagavato Pupapaka Namakarang Karumase Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Antamayang Buddhanusatinayang Karumase Tangko Pana Bhagavantang Wang Kalayano Kiti Sato Hapukato Iti Piso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vicha Charana Sampanno Sukato Lokavido อนุตตโรปุริสตัมมสารติสัทธาเทวมนุสานะพุทโธปะกวาทีอันธรรมยังพุทธาปิกิติงคารุมาเสพุทธวารหันตวรตาติกุณาดิยโทสุทธา นาหิสัมมากัตโตปุเตสิโยสุจนะทังขามลังวสุโรวันตามหังธรรมรนังสิรสาชิเนตังปุตโตโยสัพพานินังสารนังเขมามุตตะมัง ปัตตมานุสติทหานังวันตามิทังสิเรนะหังปุตตาสาหาสมิทาโสวะปุตโตเมสามิคิสารโรปุตโตทุกขาสักตาชาวิตตาชาหิทัสสมิ พุทธัสสะหังนิยาเตมิสาริรังชีวิตังชิตังวันตันโทหังชาริสามิพุทธเสวะสุปฏิทังนาติเมสารนังหันยังพุทโตเมสารนังวรัง เอเทนะสัจวัชเชนะวัตยังสัตตสาสะเนพุทธังเมวันธรรมานีนะยัมปุญญังภัสสุทังหิตาสาเปปิยันตรายาเมมาเฮสุมทัสสะเทจัสสะ กายเนวาจยวาจเตสาวาพุทธิกุกมันปะกตังมยายามพุทโธปฏิกันหาตัวจยันตังขลันตริยสัมวริทุมวาพุทธิ อันธรรมยังธรรมานุสตินยังคารโรมาเสสวากาโตภะคะวะตาธัมโมสันทิติโกหาคาลิโกเฮหิปัสสิโกโอปะนายโกปัจจตังเวทิตาปุเวญยุหิติ อันธรรมยังธรรมาปิกิติงคารโรมาเซสวากาตาตาติโกนายโยกาวเสนาสยโยโยมาคาปาคาปาริยาติวิโมคาเปโตตัมโมโกโลคาปตนาตาตาตาริตาริวันตามหังธรรมรานังวรธรรมเมตังตัมโมโยสัพพานินังสารนังเขมามุตตะมัง ตุติยานุสติทหานังวันตามิทังสิเรนะหังตัมมาสหัสามิตาโสวะตัมโมเมสามิคิสารโรตัมโมดุขัสสะกัตตาชาวิตาตาชาหิตาสามิ ตัมมาสหังนิยาเตมิสาริรังชีวิตังชิตังวันตันโทหังชาริสามิตัมมาเสวะสุตัมมาทังนาทิเมสารนังหันยังธัมโมเมสารนังวรัง เอเทนะสัจวะเชนะวัดยังสัตตสาสะเนตัมมังเมวันตมานนะ Yam punyang pasuthang hida sape pihantaraya me mahiasum tasate chasa
Kayena wacaya wacete sawa Dhamme kukaman pakatang mayayam Dhammo patikan hatuan siyantang Karandarya samvaritumwa sangkami
อันธรรมยังสังขานุสตินยังคารมาเสสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอุจุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆญาญาปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสะ สามนิชิปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆยะติตังชาตาริปุริสายุคานิหะตาปุริสาปุคลาเอสาภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอาหุเนยโยภาหุเนยโย ตากิเนโยอัญชลิกรณิโยอนุตตรังปุญญเกตังโลกัสสะหันตัมมยังสังฆาปิกิติงคารมาเสสัตตัมมะโจสุปฏิปฏิกุณาดิโยโตโยธาปิโตหาริยาปุคละสังคาสิโตสิลาติตัมมะภวราสยคายจิตโต วันตามหังธรรมริยานาคานังสุสุตังสังโฆโยสาปปานินังสารนังเขมามุตตมังตาติยานุสติทานังวันตามิทังสิเรนะหังสังฆาสาหาสามิตาโสวะ สังโฆเมสามิคิสารโรสังโฆดุขาสักกตาชาวิตาตาสังฆาสาหังนิยาเตมิสาริรังชีวิตังชิตังวันตันโทหังชาริสามิสังฆาโสปฏิปันทังนาทิเมสารนังหันยาสังโฆเมสารนังวารัง เอเทนะสัจวะเจนะวะเตยังสัทธสาสะเนสังฆังเมวันตมาเนนะยัมปุญญังภาสุตังหิตาสัพเพปิหันตรายามิมาเฮสุมทัสสะเทจะสา
Kayena wacaya wacete sawa Sangke kukaman pakatang mayayam Sangko patikan hatuan cayantang Kalantarya sammaretumma sangke
We'll turn to page 75. The reflection on impermanence. Han tammayang anicca satipatang panamase sape sankhara anicca. All conditioned things are impermanent. Sape sankhara dukkha.
All conditioned things are dukkha. Sabbe dhamma anatta. Everything is void of self. Aduvang jivitang. Life is not for sure. Duvang maranang. Death is for sure. Awasang maya maritapang. It is inevitable that I'll die. Marana pariyosanang me jivitang. Death is the culmination of my life. Jivitang me haniyatang. My life is uncertain. Maranang me niyatang. My death is certain. Vata, indeed. Ayang kayo, this body. Achirang, will soon. Apeta vinyano, be void of consciousness. Chuto, and cast away. Adisesati, it will lie. But the wing on the ground. Kalinkarang hiwa, just like a rotten log. Niratang, completely void of use. Anicca vata sankhara, truly conditions cannot last. Yadamino, their nature is to rise and fall. Upachitawa niruchanti, having arisen things must cease. Te sangho pasamo sukho, their stilling is true happiness. Page 34. The verses on sharing of merits. Hantamayang sapapatitana katayo panamase. Punya sitani kata sanyananyani katani me. Te sanchapakino honto satananta pamanaka. May whatever living beings, without measure, without end, partake of all the merit from the good deeds I have done. Ye piya gunawanta chamayang mata pita tayo. Dita me chapaya dita wa anye ma chata virino. Those loved and full of goodness, my mother and my father dear, being seen by me and those unseen, those neutral and diverse, satati tanti loka saming te pumma chatu yonika, panche ka chatu vokara sangsaranta bhava bhave, being established in the world, four grounds of birth, with five aggregates of 104, wandering on from realm to realm. Nyatang me patitana me anumodantu te sayang. Ye chi mang na pajananti dewa te sang ne vedayom. Those who know my act of dedication, may they all rejoice in it. And as for those still unaware, may the Devas let them know. Maya dinana punyanang anumodana hetuna. Sabe sata sata hontu havira sukachivino. Kema patan chapa puntu te sa si chatang supa. By rejoicing in my sharing, may all beings live at ease. in freedom from hostility. May their good wishes be fulfilled, and may they all reach safety.
Okay, so we say Anumodana for everyone's efforts in their practice today. It's great to see almost everyone who started the retreat is still here. Well done. Some of you, it might be your first one-day retreat as well, so very well done. You can be proud of yourself that you didn't go home. So we'll try and finish these last questions before we close up. The last thing we do on one-day meditation retreats is we do this formal asking for forgiveness ceremony, which we'll do at the end of the question and answer session. And this is a ceremony we do at the start of the rains retreat as well. So it's on page 193. And basically what it's is doing is you're asking forgiveness from the community of monastics and for anything you've done through body, speech, or mind, knowingly or unknowingly, you seek forgiveness. And we also, through anything that we've done through body, speech, or mind, knowingly or unknowingly, we seek your forgiveness as well. So it's about starting afresh. It's about wiping the slate clean. Anything that you've held in your mind, which is unwholesome, you can let it go and begin the rains retreat in a very good way. So like I mentioned before, if there's anything that you wish to let go of and also actively do, one of each over the next 3-month period of time, that's something maybe you could think about today as well. So we'll start with the questions. Venerable Sir, I have always seen the Buddha's teachings as a very logical and scientific. However, when we chant about figures like the guardian spirit of the earth or the Lord of Death, I struggle to understand how to view them. Are these beings to be understood literally, or are they symbolic representations of natural laws? So I had the same question when I was first starting off. What is the Lord of Death? What is the guardian spirits of the earth? So basically, there are, we say in Buddhist cosmology, there are, we say, beings in other realms. Like when we talk about rebirth in Buddhism, this lifetime in Buddhism is not the only lifetime, is sort of an onward story. So there'll be beings in other realms as well. So when we're doing that chant, it's about sharing any good things we've done in our life, sharing with all beings everywhere. Now, if you struggle with this as a concept, like I did, then don't worry about it, because this is the teaching that I was given as well by Ajahn Kalyano, is like if you have a doubt about a particular part of the Buddhist teachings, sometimes that's a good thing. It's a good thing to look into. The Buddha never taught us to believe blindly in anything. So, but not to disregard anything as well. So to have an open mind and keep practicing. So many of you have heard me talk about this analogy at Bodhipala Monastery, is the analogy of the map. Okay, the Buddhist teachings is like a map. When you're given a map by somebody's told you this map is excellent, and they hand it to you, and you're not sure whether to believe this person who's handed you this map. You're like, what's so good about this map? And they say, oh, well, try it out. And so out of curiosity, you try out this map. So you start walking according to the map. And you look on the map, the first thing that's a landmark on your map is a mountain. And you look ahead and there's a mountain. So you think, okay, maybe it's got some validity to it. So you start walking a bit longer on the path that's shown on the map. And that's an analogy for practicing the Buddha's teachings. So as we walk along the path of Buddhism, we start seeing, okay, the next landmark that's on the map is a lake. And you look up in real life, oh, there is a lake as well. And so you start having a bit more confidence in this map. You didn't necessarily believe the person who gave you the map straight away. I mean, it wouldn't be logical to believe somebody who just turned up and gave you a map to say this is true and just wave it around. Say, yeah, this is true. This map is the number one thing in the world. Well, you haven't walked it yet. You don't know. So as you walk along the map, you see what's on the paper and what's in real life is consistent. So as you gain more confidence in this map, then by extension, the rest of the map must be true. We don't know yet, but your confidence in the map grows, doesn't it? So this is exactly how it was for me in the Buddhist teachings. In the beginning, somebody said, oh, at the end of the map, there's all these sorts of things. I'm like, oh, I'm not quite sure. But as I walked along the path and got to know more about the Buddhist teachings and practiced it, the more confidence I had in the map. So with these aspects that we're not familiar with or we have question marks on, that's fine. But start working with the things that do make sense to you. Okay, so maybe the mindfulness practice, the sense of morality, practicing the 5 precepts, maybe that all makes sense to you. And then just keep walking along the path. And then you might find 5-10 years down the track that, your confidence in the Buddhist teachings has grown. And these other things by extension may make more sense to you. But yeah, the Buddha really outlined that he didn't ask people to just believe in what he said. So one of his number one students was Venerable Sariputta. He went away and he contemplated the Buddhist teachings. He didn't just believe in what he said. He said, I don't know it yet because I haven't practiced it. So I haven't internalized what the Buddha has said. Right? So don't worry about those things too much. Okay, why does the Buddha statue have hair and the monks don't? I am 7 years old. Are you still here? Okay. Great question. Good handwriting as well. Very clear. So the story is that the Buddha, he cut off his hair when he left the palace to start his spiritual life. He was 29 years old when he left the palace. And when he made the decision to become a monk, It wasn't a Buddhist monk yet because there was no such thing, but he wanted to go, what he said, go forth from the normal life into a more ascetic spiritual path. So he cut off his hair. He was a prince, so he had really long hair, and so he cut it off. And he had very curly hair, so he did shave his head, just like we do. But his hair would grow back very quickly, and it would grow in curls that would go clockwise. People say it looks like snails, you know, the snail shell. And it kind of looks like that on his head. It was very tightly woven. So can you see on the statue, they're like little dots on top. So that's kind of symbolic of his kind of curly hair. It grew back very quickly, and it was very tight curls. Yep. So he did shave his head, but it kept growing back. So as monks, we shave our heads once every 2 weeks. So we have a head shaving day. And that was on, what day was that? Tuesday? Tuesday, yep. So it comes back quick. Yep. In our particular lineage, we actually shave our eyebrows as well. So it's particular to the Thai forest tradition. And it's also a way of letting go of self as well. Because even eyebrows you can get attached to. I think some people might know that, and they sort of spend time, what do my eyebrows look like? And so monks eliminate that. We shave our eyebrows off. And our head. So we all look the same. Yeah. Okay. Who taught you meditation, and what was his name? These are great questions. His name, my teacher, his name is Ajahn Kalyano, or we call him Lumpur Kalyano. Lumpur means venerable grandfather, because he's old now. He's only 63 at the moment, but he looks a bit older now. So I've been a student of his since I was 20. And he taught me everything about being a monk, about meditation. He helped me so much. So it's very, very important as a student to have a teacher. Well, you wouldn't be a student without a teacher. So our teacher is a very, very important person in our life. And so I spent 17 years with him before he sent me down to Adelaide to start Bodhipala Monastery. So his name is Lumpur Kalyano. It's from Abbot of Bodhipala Monastery. And you'll see on the chanting book on the front cover, that's where those chanting books have come from, Abbot of Bodhipala Monastery. How do you overcome the state of fear through meditation? So fear is a very powerful emotion. It can really grab us, and it's very hard to let go, just like all emotions. But this is one of the reasons why we're practicing mindfulness, to be more mindful of the content of our minds. So one of the ways that my teacher did was he took me to the forest. I'm from New Zealand, and there's no animals that can kill you in New Zealand. So when I first came to Australia, I was really scared of everything. There's big spiders, little spiders, snakes. I was even scared of deer in the forest, wombats even. So in Warburton, there's lots of wombats. There's things throughout the whole forest. There's monitor lizards, snakes, deer, all sorts of things. In New Zealand, there's nothing. So coming to Australia. My first night in Australia was arrived at 9 p.m. on the 14th of March 2004, and the monk showed me to my lodging, my room, and I was on high alert for bugs, animals, redback spiders, everything. And the first thing I saw when I closed my door, and I was very tired from traveling the whole day, was a huge huntsman spider. Have you seen those big spiders? I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a man-eating spider here on the wall. And hardly slept a wink that night, hardly slept at all. I was watching him if he moved through the night. So I had a lot of fear of animals, lots of different types of fears. But I knew it was something that you could overcome as well, because I had such good examples in teachers who I knew they had overcome a lot of things in their minds. I knew it was possible. We can do it. So that's also very inspiring as well. You don't have to be a slave to your emotions. You can actually overcome them. So having that inspiration in people that had practiced already was really great. And so what I did is I put my mosquito net. I'm not sure if any of you know, monks have these kind of umbrella. It's called a grot, and it's an umbrella which you drape a mosquito net over. They're far too small for me. I'm 6'5", but you're supposed to curl up in a ball and sleep underneath the mosquito net. They're designed for small Thai monks, but not for tall New Zealand monks. But I decided to put that out in the forest and test myself. And in Warburton, these deer, they're called samba deer. They're actually from Sri Lanka originally, and they were released in Victoria years and years ago for hunting. And they just went wild all throughout the South Gippsland and Yarra Ranges National Park, and which is where the monastery is adjacent to. And so there's every night you'll see about 15 to 20. If you have a torch, you can see their eyes glow up at nighttime. So you see all these sort of red eyes, and they're all ducking for cover, or they stand still. They're called barking deer because they'll pretend to be trees until you get very close. You don't know they're there, and then they let off a huge bark. And coming from New Zealand, we don't have that type of thing. Well, I wasn't aware of that. So you're walking through the forest, already a bit scared of like snakes and spiders and everything, and you get this big bark come at you. You jump out of your skin. So I thought, okay, I've got to get better at not being so scared of all these different animals. So I put up my mosquito net in the forest, and I found that very challenging. But I knew through challenging yourself that you become better at dealing with these emotions. So you kind of got to challenge yourself a little bit with the fear, but not too much where it overwhelms you severely, but just a little bit of challenge to try and educate yourself. It's like a learning experimentation. So I put up my mosquito net, and sure enough, the first night, this huge deer was trotting right next. I put my mosquito net right on the footpath of where these things walk. So I thought, I've got to teach myself to not be scared of these animals. They're not going to hurt me, I hope. And so I put my mosquito net up, and then sure enough, the first night you hear them sort of trotting around. And I couldn't sleep as well. My heart was pounding. I was worried. They got big horns. Are they going to stab me or something? And then the next year, Lumpur Kaliano took me to Thailand. And he took me to the jungle in Thailand. This is on the Burmese border between Thailand and Burma. Actually, part of the hermitage that we stayed in, you can walk into Burma from it. So the borderline runs right through the kind of hermitage. It's thousands of acres, and it's all virgin forest. It's beautiful, and a waterfall running through it. It's very picturesque. And we arrived there in the evening, and that morning, the monk decides to tell me this at night time, that that morning he saw two big stripy tigers in the morning. And that's the last thing I wanted to hear. And so he told us, and we were having a cup of tea, and then my hand started shaking. I was hoping there was a tiger-free area, but no, he saw two tigers that morning. So then I really had to face fear, sitting in my mosquito net again, just thinking I'm going to get eaten alive by a tiger any minute. I felt like a sitting duck. You know how they say you're a sitting duck, and so I had to really deal with the fear. And I noticed that it was getting the better of me. The fear was really pulsing through my whole body, and I said, "No, this is not right. I need to really collect myself." So I used my meditation object. I started going Butto, 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 Butto. And because my mind had only two choices, either stay with Butto or get really, really scared, it decided to go with Butto. And my mind calmed down really quickly and became very still. It wasn't for very long, but it just proved to me that, yes, you do have a choice. You can choose to choose peace and calm and tranquility with a bit of training, as opposed to always fear. But that takes practice. Yep. So after that time in the Burmese border, I went back to Australia, and the barking deer were a piece of cake. Easy. So that way you kind of train yourself. If you give yourself a difficult situation, then the less difficult situations become easy. It's like a football player. You have to overtrain for the actual game. Yeah. Whenever I do meditation, I always do the ones with the sitting. It has helped me a lot, but my patience always get it the way how I do improve. But my patience always, maybe it's how do I improve my patience? Well, as a monk, we have to be very patient with different conditions. So what I learned very early on was how to sit quietly and listen, be patient. And I was a very impatient person as well. So in the early days, when I was first training, I didn't understand the Thai language. And a lot of visiting teachers, or all of them, they just spoke Thai. So you had a huge amount of time you had to wait while the senior monk kindly gave a talk in Thai language. And then the translation came afterwards. And some of the talks were 3 hours as well. So I had to learn how to be patient. And I noticed that when I got impatient, I was very hot, upset, even you get angry, frustrated. And I thought, I always tried to look back and say, this is something I can change. This is something I can improve on. How do I do that? So sometimes I had to talk to myself. I said, okay, there's nothing to be upset about. He's kindly giving us a talk. How to be patient. Just come back to your breathing. Just calm down. Sometimes when impatience is really strong, you just have to be very patient. You have to just almost like grit your teeth and go, okay, I'm not going to leave. I'm not going to give up. I'm just going to be very enduring at this time. And when you do that, you don't follow your impatience. You become stronger. So you get stronger at being more patient. If we always follow our impatience, then we'll forever be impatient. But if we start cultivating patience, then that makes our mind stronger. So there was a lot of times where monks, we have to be very, very patient, we have to sit still, just like these monks have been very patient, and all of you as well, listening to the instructions, being patient with your own minds, being patient with the instructions. This is how we cultivate more patience. And it often is not always comfortable because we're not used to pushing ourselves past our comfort zone. When we're not used to pushing ourselves past our comfort zone, there's this kind of discomfort, disease, just a little bit. But with that comes growth. As you all know, when you change something or there's change in our lives, there's often a bit of discomfort which comes with that. As we change, or there is change, there has to be a little bit of discomfort. And that's okay. So patience is number one quality to work on. It seems many more young students feel anxiety nowadays. Anxiety to school leads to refusal to go to school, maybe. Anxiety to outside world lead to with to not join in socializing or activity of work. How does it come? How to assist young people who might feel anxiety. Yet there is a lot of talk about anxiety these days. I think a lot of people just need to give the young people a lot of love, care, support, working through their anxiety, learn how to turn off phones, digital detox sometimes will really help as well. There's many skillful things that you can do as a parent to support people in their mental health. So anxiety is based in fear and worry, worry about the future. So one of the ways to combat that is to cultivate peace. So maybe you give them some guidance in meditation, how to get to know their minds, how to look after them. So it's really important to get an idea of how to identify anxiety early so that you can let go of it. Yep. But that takes practice. It's a bit like a lot of what I've been talking about today is being mindful of the content of your mind so that you can see it as just simply arising. It stays for a while, but then it passes away. And that goes with all mental states. So when your mindfulness becomes strong, then it no longer has a grip on you, but you have mindfulness of the fact that it's impermanent, meaning it arises and it passes away. Yeah. So that takes a lot of support, help for the students, or even adults as well. Everyone goes through these things. So it's about teaching yourself to be patient with yourself, be patient with expectation, uh, learning how to be more mindful of what's going on in our minds, and learning how to let go. Yep. This is the number one things of how to let go of anxiety. How does one protect themselves as a Buddhist in a situation where someone consistently and constantly inflicts pain on you? You don't want to inflict pain back, but how do you protect yourself? So there's physical pain and there's mental pain. In terms of the physical pain, you have to, move yourself away from the situation. You don't want to be in a position where you're getting physically harmed. In terms of mental pain, that's very difficult as well, because we live together, whether it's family, friends, there's a certain degree of uh, conflicts that we have, which is, as you all know, we have conflicts within our families, conflict within communities. It's almost a part of life, but you get to choose who you spend time with. In terms of, like, say today, we've come together as fellow practitioners. We've come to learn about Buddhism. We call this Kalyanamitta, or spiritual friendship. So having good supports like that is very useful as well. Learning what's a good friend, what's not a good friend as well. If somebody is toxic, then maybe you need to move away, give that person space, and maybe need to spend time with spiritual friends who are encouraging you in your Dhamma practice, who are leading you in a good way. So protecting yourself, again, mindfulness is really important. You're mindful of who they are, who you are, how you feel, how they feel, and it's quite a general, it's not really specific, but the idea is not to cause them pain, because you don't want to make what we call karma. Karma means action. So you don't want to cause them pain. So you don't want to keep that back and forth, because there's, in life, if you continue that cyclic, they hurt me, so I'm going to hurt them, this never ends. But it's through stillness, coolness, peace, that then these conflicts can then subside and then end. But because it's so general, it's hard to be specific in terms of that person's case. But generally, in my life as a monk, I've been very privileged to be around fellow spiritual practitioners, and I did choose that. I choose to be around good people. It helps you to support you in your good practice as well. So yes, you can choose that as well. I would like to enter the monk's way of living, but cannot sit for long periods. Is this a problem? Chronic pain due to injury. It's not a problem if you can't sit for very long. I myself have a disc issue in my back, so I used to sit a lot longer than I do now. But you just make those transitions to walking meditation maybe more frequently. The main thing with meditation is the quality of meditation, not so much the quantity. Okay, so quality over quantity. So somebody might be able to sit down and look very peaceful for hours and hours and hours, but in their mind, they're not being mindful, right? So it's not about how long you can sit, but it's how mindful can you be. And then also, like I also mentioned today, it's about bringing that mindfulness to your daily life as well. Yeah. So it's not an obstacle to the monk's life. You're welcome anytime. Can female become a monk? Thanks. Yes, they can. They don't become monks, they become nuns. It's just another term. And so they're usually separate communities because we're a celibate order, and it just makes more sense to have female practitioners teaching female practitioners, and so they're separate communities. But yes, as a school kid, I feel like I just repeating life on and on, like stuck in a never-ending loop. How do I stop it? Thanks. So often when we think life is like an endless loop, it's because we're thinking that it's endless loop. Actually, every moment of every day is brand new. So this moment that we're having right now, we can never repeat. We can never get it back because it's the present moment. So a way of helping somebody with this question is about cultivating mindfulness, being in the present moment. When you're in the present moment, that moment is very, very precious. This moment right here, all of us sitting in this hall, is very, very precious. So take every moment of life as a very precious moment. And then it doesn't feel like an endless loop. Yeah, that's our thought. That's thinking it's an endless loop. So if we learn to be mindful and let go of that thought about future and past, be in the present moment, cherish every moment, do good things in your life, this will help us with this thought of like, this is an endless loop. Go to school, come back from school, go back to the loop. How to control temptation. Knowing it's not good for you, but still people are doing it. Very good question. Because we all do that. We fall into temptation, knowing it's no good for us, but we still do it. How do we stop that? So there's a word that nobody likes me talking about, and it's called restraint. Restraint is something monks know very well, because a lot of our rules are all about not doing something. And so I'm a great advocate for restraint. And everyone hates that word because it means they can't do what they want to do. But actually, your mind becomes so much stronger and more peaceful and more independent from what you desire if you no longer indulge in what you want. I'll bring back the chocolate cake example. So if you're addicted to chocolate cake, all you think about is chocolate cake. You at first, if you want to give up chocolate cake, you set the determination. Okay, no more chocolate cake. 3 months, like I was mentioning before. No chocolate cake. 3 months. And the first few days will be okay. Okay, you got a lot of enthusiasm. No chocolate cake. Then the next week, all you'll be thinking about is chocolate cake. But if you make sure you just don't buy the chocolate cake and don't eat it, although there's a lot of thought about chocolate cake, you haven't fed that desire because you've practiced restraint. Although it's uncomfortable, this is the point people give up, is because it's uncomfortable to practice restraint. Okay? So if you're willing to be patient with that discomfort of the restraint period, of this not being familiar with practicing restraint, your mind becomes stronger. So you realize, oh, I don't have to buy chocolate cake all the time. I can give up my desire for chocolate cake. So it's a bit like a fire. If you keep feeding the fire, what's going to happen? The fire gets stronger and it never gets extinguished. So when you start practicing restraint, you're not putting any more logs on the fire. But what happens? It still smolders, doesn't it? It's still there. So it's still uncomfortable. You give up something, you expect instant results, no more desire for chocolate cake. But that desire is still smoldering. So if you're patient enough and you're not putting any more logs on the fire, then the embers will go down and it'll start disappearing and it'll extinguish completely. So then you realize, hey, I can do this with other things, not just chocolate cake. It can be desire for whatever, or temptation, whatever temptation that we find is bothering us and we know is not good for us, but we want to give up. And then you can apply that to all these different things. Your mind becomes stronger. Yeah, very, very good skill to practice. We've got 5 more minutes. So, Venerable Bante, after practicing a bit of vipassana for some time, I can be mindful of my feelings most of the times and try to apply the method of thinking anicca, dukkha, anatta. But as a layperson, I feel bored when staying with the busy world around me, and mind is stressed, not knowing what to do. Please help. Thank you. So, just to those of people who don't know those terms, anicca, dukkha, anatta, this means anicca means impermanence, so changeable. Second is dukkha, which means suffering, and the last one is anatta, which means not self. So the questionnaire means the person's asking if you see things as anicca, dukkha, anatta, or impermanent, suffering, and not self, your mind feels kind of bored or feeling detached from the world, um, uh, and the thing and the world around. But also, you have to live in the world as well. So, for me, in my practice, when we first contemplate impermanence, suffering, and not self, uh, we need to contemplate that with a balanced approach, so with wisdom as well. So, although you want to develop a dispassion for the world, a coolness to the world, but you still have to live in the world wisely. So you maybe still have to have a family, jobs, things like this. You can't become a monk. So you have to live in the world wisely with these contemplations. So it's about holding it correctly. If you're feeling stressed by these things, or feeling depressed by these contemplations, there's something not quite right. So you need to just adapt your perception, adapt your contemplations, so that you're viewing these things in a more balanced way. So, like I said before, it's the middle way of practice. So we're not trying not to have any attachments in the world. A desire not to have is called vibhava tanha, meaning a desire not to have. And the opposite of that is a desire to have. Okay, there's two types there. So we're learning how to live in the world skillfully. And I can't tell you how to do that. It's something you have to learn, but it's an approach. If you're feeling stressed by it or feeling depressed, that's meaning we're holding it a little bit wrongly. So we need to balance our approach. So that's all the time we've got for today. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your question. So it's coming up to 4 o'clock. So we'll do the asking for forgiveness ceremony, and I'll lead you in it. Maybe Chanaka, can you come up and you can lead them just by holding the tray? Just hold that gold tray. You can, yep, you can maybe sit at the front here. Let's see. Then you face me. Just there's one. Yeah. Okay. Just put it down for a second on the ground. Okay. We usually start off by bowing 3 times. Okay. So, Chanaka, you can hold the tray. and we can chant Namo Tassa 3 times together. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Okay, please repeat after me. Sanghe Pamadena Dawaratayena Katang Sabang Aparadang Kamatuno Bante Sanghe Pamadena Dawaratayena Katang Sabang Aparadang Kamatuno Bante Sanghe Pamadena Dawara. Knowingly, if there's anything that you have done which is harmful, we give our full forgiveness. And through body, speech, or mind, knowingly or unknowingly, if we have done anything to harm you, we seek your forgiveness. And may any good actions that we have done through body, speech, or mind as the Sangha, may we dedicate this to you, and may you take today's meditation retreat home and use the different tools and guidelines and to help you in your life. And may the blessings of Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha guide you and protect you. So we'll chant a blessing for you all. Yathavarivaha pura paripurinti sakarang evam hevahito tinang petanang upakapati ichitang patitang tumhang kipamewa samichato sape purintu sangkapa chanto panaraso yata mani jyotiraso yata Saparoko vinasato mate pavantarayo sukhiti kayuko pava apivatana sili sanichamutapachayino chattaro dhamma vadanti ayuvano sukhang Palang bhavatu sapa mangkalang rakantu sapa dewata sapa buddhanupavena sadasoti pavantu te bhavatu sapa mangkalang rakantu sapa dewata sapa dhammanupavena sadasoti pavantu te Bhavatu sapa mangkalang rakantu sapa devata sapa sanghanupavena sadasoti pavantu te. So many blessings to you all, and we hope today was useful for you all, and that you can maybe use some of these things that we've spoken about today, Dhamma practice to take home and use to help you in your lives become more peaceful, happy, and grow in the Buddhist teachings. We also like to thank Wellbeing SA for arranging all this, this wonderful school, and everyone who had a part to it, and Chanaka and Priyanta for arranging it all, the sound system people, Buddhika and Kasun, and everyone who's helped right through to everyone who did all the food and helped. And so many blessings to you all. Namo Tana. Chanaka, is there anything you want to say? And thank you to Atherstone School as well.
First of all, thank you so much, Venerable Teacher Ajahn Nyanadipo, and also Venerable Sakadamo, Satchadamo, and Venerable Jyotidamo to come and help us for today. And thank you so much for everyone who participate. Hope you get learn a lot of things today. And thank you so much.
One of the ways we say appreciation and is saying sadhu. So we can say that 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. There was a question about the chanting books. Unfortunately, those are our only chanting books. We're going to have to take them back to the monastery, but there is a PDF version online, and you can download it from the Buddha Bodhipala Monastery website, both volumes 1 and 2.